Hello everyone, what is up? Today we are checking out another King cover. This is a NIJISANJI King cover with 3 people covering the song, which I'm quite interested about. I'm excited to see what twist these 3 are able to bring to King, because we've seen so many King covers, and King covers are a bit out of season, I feel, at this point. So it's quite interesting to have this sort of timing with a King cover as well as one with 3 people. So I'm hoping for a twist, some sort of spin to the song. But let's just jump in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright. So already we've got a breath intake, like a vocal track at the beginning before the real impact transition there. I'm not sure if that was in the original or anything. Okay, so we're opening with a pretty nasally vocal. You know, this vocalist definitely has a bit of a nasally voice. I'm not sure if that's just natural or if that's intentional here. It sounds like that's just sort of their natural timbre, is just sort of this nasally bass tonality. And for the stop there, instead of doing like a staccato stop, like up high, we're kind of just letting it flow with the rest of the song. I like this guy's vocals. This guy has a it's a bit breathy, but it's still pretty well supported, and it's very clear. You know, I feel like we introduced with this a very nasally vocal, and then our second vocal had this digital suppression on it, as well as, you know, the backing vocal track sort of interfering with that. And then when we get this very clear, slightly breathy, very well supported vocal, it highlights this vocalist a lot. Alright. Okay, so 2 things. One is we're taking a lot of the staccato elements that you see in a lot of King covers, and we're just kind of making them legato. You know, we're letting it flow with the rest of the song, which is an interesting choice, especially for such an impact-based song like this. That's very high velocity, intense, and impact-based. You know, you expect a lot of staccato notes, but we're switching that out for legato quite often, and also we're getting this digital effect really on all the vocals, but it's utilized pretty well. You know, the only time I ever felt like the digital effect was interfering with me being able to grasp the vocalist's voice was with this vocalist here. This vocalist here, I felt like his voice was a little bit obscured by the digital effect, but for the most part, you know, I mean, he sounds fine in the duet parts, and for the most part, you know, the digital effect is applied pretty well. You know, it's applied to fit the aesthetic of the song, but it doesn't interfere too much with the vocals. I also want to touch on the fact that for the left side, right side, we don't get dynamic panning, which is an interesting choice, because, you know, a lot of King covers will switch from the left side to the right side on the lyrics for that dynamic panning, but we don't have that here, which I feel like, you know, that shouldn't be too tough of an element to throw in, and kind of like a fun mixed choice that I think it's a little bit disappointing that wasn't there, but you know, let's keep going. All right, that part, that is the best take I've ever heard for that part, solely because, you know, every single kick cover, I feel like they go all in on the digital effects on that part. They go for the song aesthetic, and they just forget to make it sound good, you know? I feel like that is by far the best take I have heard for that part. By far, you know, that was the most pleasant take I have heard of that section of that segment of King. That's the best take I've heard so far. Okay. I also I know I'm dissecting this cover quite a lot, like maybe more than usual. But the reason I'm doing that is because it's a King cover in like June of 2023. So it's got to be unique, and I feel like it has to be dissected if you're going to release a King cover in June of 2023. You know, I feel like there's so much competition for King covers, and King cover season has kind of passed. So I feel like you've got to have something unique, got to have something special to get views on a King cover coming out around this time, you know? So further dissecting this, I feel like this vocalist, he has a, like, from what I can hear of his voice, it's really pleasant. I really like the deeper timbre of his voice, the deeper tonality he has, but I cannot hear enough of it with that digital effect on his voice. It is obscuring his voice a lot, which, you know, it's okay for some song aesthetics, you know, but when we have this other vocalist who's got, you know, the breathier voice, the brown-haired vocalist, when they've got this clear tonality that's so pleasant and easy to listen to, it's very rounded in the mix, you know, having another vocal track that's mixed like this with that digital effect, it feels like a disservice to this vocalist. When the other vocal is mixed so well, to have something mixed like this feels like a disservice to me. Like, listen to the change we get from this vocalist to the next. Like, there's so much suppression on that vocal. I mean, the vocals feel like compressed, you know, for that blue-haired vocalist. But from what I can hear of his voice, you know, there shouldn't be a reason to compress that much. And you can say, you know, it's to change the aesthetic, to change the segment of the song. Sure. But you have 3 vocalists. You do not need digital effect to separate the segments of your song. You have 3 vocalists. Your vocalists can separate the segments of your song. You don't need digital effect for that. You don't need to suppress the vocals for that. You can just have the other vocalists sing. That's all you need to do. And so I don't know why this blue-haired vocalist has such odd suppression on his voice. They sound good together. See, listen to that. Listen to that right there. Oh, what he does, the "You Are King." He has such a fun, such a powerful voice. You know, he's got that deeper tonality. He could do so much with that. But they just need to lift up. They just need to let his voice out. You know, just let his voice into the mix. Don't put so much suppression on it. Don't compress his vocals so much. Let him sing. He has such a good voice. And this guy has a really good voice. I really like his voice. It reminds me of like Regis Altair from Hollow EN, or Shoto. You know, that breathier ASMR voice. That's a very easy to listen to, very soft. Alright. Are we gonna get a climb? No, okay. Interesting. Okay, usually I feel like a lot of people who cover King will kind of sustain the last "You Are King" and kind of hold it out and raise in pitch, like "You Are King," and then sort of start raising the King. Um, but we did not get that. Okay, so overall, overall verdict. I understand I am being kind of harsh with this cover. But the reason I'm being so harsh is because it is a King cover, and to release a King cover, especially right now, it feels you need to have something unique. You need to be different. You need to have something that you're showing off to choose a King cover. Unless this was just like a very delayed cover release, I don't see why you would release this cover right now, because I liked the vocalists, but there was nothing particularly special I felt about this cover. And and quite, I don't want to be too negative here, but quite the opposite to something too special. There was a less in this cover than I was expecting. I felt like it's just simple, dynamic panning. That would have been so easy to mix in. That would have been so easy to apply. Just for the left side, right side, just have it go from the left side to the right side. A lot of covers do that, and I felt like that's such an easy thing to add. I don't see why they wouldn't add something so as simple as that. And then some, mixing choices like with the vocals. The vocalists here felt very unevenly mixed. It feels like a different person handled each vocal track for the complete cover. Um, I don't want to be too negative, but I feel like you have to be harsh for a King cover that's coming out right now, because it's like there's so many King covers out there that were released months ago that they have so much more to offer, and so I don't see why this cover came out right now. I feel like if it was going to come out, then it could definitely use a lot more work. But I'm not saying this was a bad cover. All the vocalists did a wonderful job, but I think it was not. I think these vocalists could have easily picked another song to cover. I feel like the King cover was selected as, I feel like the song was selected just because it was popular, and then maybe this project was like pushed off and off. Maybe there were some delays and like the just with the music team or whatever, and then maybe it just got delayed to this release, because it doesn't feel like this cover had something special or original that really to offer. My favorite part of this cover, I'm being very negative, but one thing I will say I absolutely loved about this cover, the brown haired vocalist, the vocalist on the left of the image, all of his lines, this vocalist right here, all of his lines were absolutely a joy to listen to. The mix was perfect. His voice was awesome. And he also probably did the best version of this segment right here. That's the most pleasant take I've ever heard of that segment of King. So yeah, there were some positives, but I feel hesitant to be so negative about any video that I react to or I cover, because all the people working on this are very talented, and they're putting in a lot of work. But I have to say, as a King cover, this cover fell short to me. I think if the same amount of time and effort had been put into a different cover, then I definitely wouldn't be as harsh. I'm very aware that I'm being unusually harsh here. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you think it's like I'm being too harsh here. This was by no means a bad cover, but I am definitely giving it a lot of negative commentary. So let me know in the comments what you think about this cover, and what do you think about my commentary. Overall, this wasn't an unpleasant listen by any means. It was just, it fell short to to my expectations. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Please do let me know in the comments, what do you think about this cover, and what do you think about my commentary on it? Because, you know, when I comment on these videos, when I comment on these songs, you know, I don't want to be negative at all, but I also don't want to just ignore the things I hear or the things I catch or my opinions on the song, because I feel like that is the point of the reaction. That is kind of the point of the whole analysis of it, you know? So do let me know what you think in the comments below, please. And aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you very much for watching.